Courtland Sutton and the Broncos have reached an agreement on a restructured contract for this season, killing any potential of a holdout. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Matthew Peterson here, breaking down the latest on Courtland Sutton, what this means for him, the team, and what could be next for the Broncos, along with some other news and rumors to get to. But Courtland Sutton and the team agreed on a new restructured deal worth up to $15.2 million. Now, they took his base salary, kept it the same, and added $1.5 million in incentives. So, what was originally supposed to be $13.6 million in cash could be all the way north of $15 million if he reaches certain benchmarks, which I believe are tied to receiving yards, along with some team benchmarks in general. It's important to note this is a restructure, not an extension. So Courtland Sutton still has 2 years left on his contract, and nothing has changed for guaranteed money for 2025. So if Sutton does not deliver or does not live up to expectations, the Broncos could still move on from him after this season with zero to little dead cap hit whatsoever. So this restructure does not keep him tied to the Broncos for any longer or keep him invested in the team for any more dollars than he already is currently assigned to. So we're going to break down this in more detail in just a moment, but never miss any Broncos news. As soon as the news dropped, me and producer Reed hopped in the lab, getting you guys a video as soon as possible. So get us to 23,000 subscribers. I know 3 of you guys watching are not subscribed. So if you're watching and you don't subscribe, well, YouTube's going to fax me a list of everyone that fits in that category, and we know whose door to go knocking on if the Broncos don't go 17-0 this season. Now, I thought this tweet from Mike Kliss was very interesting, and I want to share with you guys. He tweeted, all along this offseason, the Broncos had offered Courtland Sutton $1 million extra in incentives, but no change to his base contract. Broncos sweetened the incentive package an extra $1.5 million from $200,000 to $1.7 million. Deal struck, so no more contract talk for Broncos' top wide receiver. When I saw this and I saw the news and I saw the tweet, the first thing that kind of popped in my head was I think the Broncos overall awarded Courtland Sutton for his maturity and his approach to the contract dispute. He showed up to mandatory minicamp. He was present for day 1 of training camp. You're seeing a lot of other guys hold out or hold in, but Courtland Sutton has been there for everything that's been required. And I think Denver decided, you know what, even though you don't have much leverage at this point because you're not holding out, you're not holding in, you're present, we're still going to go ahead and finalize that incentive deal for you, tacking on an additional possible $1.5 million. Now, I think if you're looking for a winner out of this, it's got to be the Broncos. Sutton was probably looking for some guaranteed money for 2025. That way he feels like I've got some assurance that I'm not going to be just a one-hit wonder or final year with the Broncos in 2024. Ultimately, he didn't get that. He doesn't get any guaranteed money tacked on to his contract, just some incentives that he could reach. But an extra $1.5 million, that's probably enough for Courtland Sutton to go, all right, let's kind of put an end to this right here. So Denver ultimately keeps, or not just keeps, but satisfies, let's say, their top wide receiver, who last year put together 772 yards, 10 touchdowns off of some slow-ish seasons following a contract extension. I mean, you can see that he had 4 touchdowns combined from 2021 to 2022. Then he just blossomed somewhat out of nowhere into a 10-touchdown machine last year for Denver. Now, the Broncos extended Sutton in the middle of the 2021 season, and things have not maybe gone to plan or maybe has gone as hoped compared to how he started his career. Now, that torn ACL, I felt like lingered on for more than just a year. That really impacted him, not just in 2020, but in 2021 as well. 2022, we start to see a much more familiar version of Sutton. In 2023, he puts up nearly the best year of his NFL career, at least from a touchdown standpoint he did. So his second best year, we'll say altogether, going back to 2019. But at the end of the day, the Broncos could not mess around with Bo Nix, number 1 wide receiver. Going into training camp, which is the last stop before the regular season, you needed to have Sutton present to start developing that chemistry with their rookie quarterback, not having Bo Nix look around and go, no offense to these next few guys, but Josh Reynolds, a career like 600-yard a season receiver. Tim Patrick coming off a torn ACL, torn Achilles. His college roommate and teammate, Troy Franklin. I don't know if they were roommates, but that can't be the receiving room for a rookie quarterback. You had to get this done, and I'm happy that this was a good resolution and good ending for both sides. Now, how many touchdowns do you think Courtland Sutton will get in 2024? Give me a number down below. He had 10 last year. Can he reach that number again? Do you think he'll maybe fall down to the 7, 8, 9 range? Personally, I'll go with 5 touchdowns. I think with a rookie quarterback, we might see him either pick a favorite or really spread the ball evenly as he starts to get his feet wet in his NFL career. Now, I only bring this up because the Broncos, they've kind of had some rough, sledding the last couple of years, finding that clear-cut, dominant wide receiver. Sutton last year leading the team with 10 receiving touchdowns. But the year before that, you had Jerry Jeudy at 6. 2 straight years of Tim Patrick at 5 and 6. Sutton in 2019 with 6. Then in 2018, Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders tied with 4. 2017, DT at 5. 16, you've got DT and Sanders tied at 5. So it's been a rough go for Denver to find a true, touchdown possession receiver that can just will his way into the end zone. And they finally got that last year in Sutton. Hopefully that continues into 2024. You've got Marvin Mims also in the mix of the wide receiver room, who I think is going to have a really strong second year. He had a really nice start to his first year, but then he kind of cooled off, and not just cooled off, but was somewhat phased out of the offense. And Sean Payton publicly said, I'm not really sure how that came to be, but that's a mistake on our end, and it's not going to happen again. So I'm really excited for Marvin Mims in year 2. I think he could have a better year than Courtland Sutton this season. I just think he's that talented, he's that special, and he's such a great deep ball receiver, such an awesome vertical threat, which we didn't see a whole lot of from Bo Nix at Oregon, but maybe that's been just brewing inside this whole time, and the Oregon offense wasn't designed to do that, and once he gets to the NFL, he's going to unleash a side of him we haven't seen, which we kind of saw with Justin Herbert, who had a similar knock at Oregon, gets to the NFL, and the Chargers discover, oh my God, this guy's got an absolute howitzer of a right arm. Let's go deep with the football. And the entire NFL was somewhat caught by surprise. He still was a top 10 draft pick, but I don't think the expectations were nearly that high for him in his first year or two, and he vastly exceeded them. So hopefully we'll get the same thing out of Bo Nix this season. Now, before we look at the rest of today's show and talk about a potential extension for Patrick Surtain next, I do want to tell everyone about our sponsor today, which is Game Time. Rockies fans, listen up. If you love summer baseball and want to catch a baseball game, a Rockies game, or any other major league team in your area, you're going to want to give Game Time a shot. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. Now, one thing I really like about Game Time is the Game Time guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, Game Time has this awesome feature called Flash Deals, which allow you to save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of games and events. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So I just want to refresh the to-do list that the Broncos had for themselves over the last couple of weeks, which was extend offensive lineman Quinn Miners, done. Reach an agreement with Courtland Sutton, done. What's next up on the docket? Extend cornerback Patrick Surtain. That's usually the way front offices work. Not that they have a priority list, like this is more important than that, but some things are easier to tackle, right? Some projects are bigger, so when you're looking at all of your homework, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you like to start with the easier projects. Just get those little things out of the way, and then get to the big group project that you've kind of been putting off, which is now Pat Surtain's contract. So if we take a stroll down memory lane, not too long ago, just a week and change, or not even, The Broncos extended Quinn Miners, making him the top 5 highest paid guard in football at a 4-year, $80 million contract. So now it's safe to say that Pat Surtain is the next thing on George Paton's desk. So when we look at the top 10 highest paid corners and try and figure out where's Pat Surtain going to land, I mean, just yesterday we had Jaguars cornerback Tyson Campbell, who has never even made a Pro Bowl, come in at $19 million a season. So you can envision what Pat Surtain's agent is going to bring to the table if he looks at what Tyson Campbell got and then looks at his 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro through 3 seasons, Pat Surtain. I think he's going to ask for the house. And I think he's going to get it. I think that he's going to get a 5-year, $115 million contract. Maybe it's $1 million or two, less or more, but I think this is going to be very close to what you can expect to see. I mean, for Quinn Miners, I projected 5 years, $85 million. So very much in the ballpark of what he ended up getting. Now, you can see that $23 million a season is a considerable hike from what Jair Alexander is getting, which is $21 million a season, and that's the highest paid cornerback in football. But if you guys recall, Justin Jefferson, when he got his extension just a few months ago, he not only topped A.J. Brown, he put himself way above him, a separation of $3 million a season more from number 2. And I think Patrick Surtain is going to be in that same category of, I'm not looking to become just the highest paid cornerback in football by an extra $500,000, which is what happened with Jair Alexander when he topped Denzel Ward. I want to give myself some cushion as well because I deserve it. And I'm not going to dispute that whatsoever. Now, if you're looking for a timeline, I don't have an answer for you. Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football and has been the best receiver in football for a good time now. And we saw how long it took for the Vikings and Jefferson to reach an agreement on a contract extension. These major contracts, they're not little incentive bonuses like Courtland Sutton. We're talking about setting NFL contract history here. It's going to take some time. It may happen in August. It may very well bleed into the season. It could even go as far as next spring, but it's going to get done. But it is the next big tackle, the next big project that George Paton has to tackle from now until the trade deadline, which that always brings a bunch of uncertainty as you don't know what to expect from your team and other teams a few months from now. But Pat Surtain contract extension is loading. Now, if you believe in Pat Surtain and you believe he is the number 1 cornerback in football, drop a 2 for me in the comment section. He may be 2 on the field, but he is number 1 across the league. So show the guy some love. He deserves it. Type a 2 for me in the comment section below. I want to switch gears to a very different storyline, which is the Broncos Stadium evolution, we'll call it. The team is entering their 24th season at Empower Field at Mile High at its current standing after tearing down the old one and building a new one in the parking lot. And Kyle Newman from the Denver Post tweeted out, a public plan designed to keep Empower Field viable for decades to come is on an indefinite hold, which in English, not good for anyone hoping that the Broncos continue to play at their current stadium as it's currently constructed. I think we're going to see a new stadium for the Broncos within a decade. It's 2024. 2034 sounds light years away. It's kind of like when college football teams announce like a future home and away. You're like, we'll never get there. Well, I think we'll eventually get to that point of Denver having a new stadium, and I don't think it's going to be too long. The Broncos ownership has been in charge for 2 years. My just kind of gut feeling is they'll run with this stadium for 5 years and then start building a new stadium, which will take 3 years, and they'll be in that new stadium before kickoff of 2034. No evidence to back it up, just kind of a rough estimation of the timeline for how long other stadiums like SoFi and the Raiders Stadium took, and those projects dealing with a little bit of COVID, and this one hopefully not. And I think a 10-year timeline is very realistic for the Denver Broncos to be in a new stadium. Now, where will that new stadium be? Well, the current stadium was built in the old stadium's parking lot, and that's usually how most new stadiums go. They raise the current one, and then they move it over to the parking lot and just Yankee flop it. So, my guess is the current Broncos ownership, the Walton Penner Group, will want to build what a lot of new teams are doing, which is an entire complex. They want to put hotels, restaurants, entertainment, bars, restaurants, shops, all that stuff, and they want to put it all on land that they own. They want to have their hands in every single pocket of all these different industries that profit off of pro sports teams. They decide, why have a restaurant make a bunch of money on Sunday because of our team playing, and we don't get any cut of it? How about we just own the restaurant? That is the new trend of these billionaires. And for the fans, it's not a bad deal. These are awesome complexes and complexes. Like, you're looking across the country and seeing some really cool new stadiums, some really neat state-of-the-art stadiums, and I think you could see one pop up with a lot of land, which, if you know the Denver area and you're thinking, where is there a lot of space? Oh, yeah, the really weird airport is kind of in the middle of nowhere-ish. There's a bunch of unused land around there. That seems like a perfect destination to set up shop for a brand new sprawling Denver Broncos campus. That could even be home to their practice. Oh, no, they're redoing their practice facility, so it won't be there. But the point is, I don't think they're going to try and squeeze it into the current parameters of its city location. I think they want to build out, build big, and that's going to require space. Now, I'm not like a land surveyor. I don't know how much real estate and acres it's going to take for this new stadium, and maybe they can find something a little bit closer to the city so it's not so far out, but I could see them deciding there's a lot of cheap land near the airport, and we can get a lot of it and build a lot of stuff on it, and we're going to put one hell of a stadium on it, and no one's going to complain once it's done. That's my gut feeling. All right, before we get on out of here, some summer hot takes for you guys. It is a scorcher. We're looking at, I feel like the weatherman when I do this part of the show. We're looking at near 100-degree highs for the next couple of days at the Mile High City. So it's a dry heat hot take, and because it's a dry heat hot take, I want to talk about the Arizona Cardinals, because I know that they are not slept on, but kind of kicked to the side and disregarded. I don't think they're a bad football team. That defense last year was filled with UDFAs and third round and day 3 draft picks. And they weren't a great defense, but they were better than a lot of defenses that had a lot more investments made in free agency in the draft. So year 2 under Jonathan Gannon, Kyler Murray fully back from his torn ACL. Marvin Harrison, by the way, is incredible. I think they're going to be a lot better than people are going to give them credit for. So it's a dry heat hot take. Has to be hot. Their win total projection right now is at 7.5. I'll smash the over. Give me 10 games for the Arizona Cardinals this year.